Hey everybody, it's Michael from Get Your Rock Out, and I am very honoured and very privileged to be sat here with Mil Petroza from Kreator. How are you doing, sir?
I'm very good. How about yourself?
I'm doing very well. Good. Don't mind telling you, a little bit nervous. You're one of my heroes. I'm a thrash metalhead. I love Kreator very much. I'm very honoured to be talking to you, and I'm very glad you're talking to me here.
Thank you very much.
So you're pretty much the headline act for Hammerfest today. How are you feeling right about now? You're going to go on stage in a couple of hours?
I'm really excited. We haven't played for 3 months, and I'm really looking forward to this. We just last show that we played was in the jungle of Brazil. We played in somewhere. I totally forgot the name of the place, but it was in the middle of the jungle. So this is a different environment tonight, and I'm happy to be back in the UK because we don't play here that often, you know. And yeah. Looking forward.
I did see you the last time you were in the UK. I saw you on the Manchester date. You had Evil and Zentrix with you. Yeah. Crazy crowd, absolutely crazy crowd. You said recently that back in the early days you encouraged stage diving a lot. Yes. You encouraged a crazy crowd atmosphere. Is that still the case today?
Yeah, stage diving is a little complicated because most of the places that we play are a little bigger nowadays, and people get hurt if they stage dive, you know, because the photo pit is always like very far away, and so I don't encourage that anymore as much as I used to, and sometimes we have so much technical stuff on the stage. When we were when we were a younger band, we didn't have anything. You know, we just plug and play, and nowadays we have like the stage stuff, you know, like the bombs and everything, and so it's dangerous to come on stage, you know.
Now, I mean, there's a lot of things I could ask you. I could literally talk your head off for days, but the one thing I would like to know is, every time I hear a new Kreator album, I find myself thinking, this is the heaviest thing I've ever heard.
Right.
How do you get music that heavy so consistently? Is there something in the water? What's going on there?
I think it's basically because we take our time writing. I talked to one of your colleagues from a radio station just before that, and he asked me the same thing. He asked me when the next album is coming out, and I told him whenever we feel like putting it out, because as long as I'm not inspired, I will not enter a studio. I need to find the time, and I need to find the inspiration for a new record, you know, just from being around at home, talking to people, being me, you know, just living my life rather than just being on the road, because that's what we've done in the during the last 2 years. You know, we've been touring for Phantom Antichrist, and so the real world has to kick in before I can really write new material. And but I'll get there. I mean, I have a couple of riffs, but I don't really have the idea. You know, usually it's like you have like the one concept and one idea, and then everything falls into place. It's not as soon as I have that, I'll start writing. I do demos already. So, but the question was, how can I be so consistent? That's a compliment. But we just try to give 150% every time we put out something. You know, every time we come out with an album, it's got to be exciting. If we are not excited, no one else will be. So I think we rather wait a little longer to get to this point, and then go into the studio and you know, write something that's really heavy again.
Okay. I'd like to ask you about Pleasure to Kill, if I may. One of the seminal thrash metal albums. You said recently that the band didn't really know what they were doing on that record, on Endless Pain as well. What did you mean by that?
We were playing above our abilities. You know, we played stuff that we couldn't actually play, and we tried to, you know, we tried the hardest. You know, we weren't technically, we were not so experienced. Before we went in the studio for Endless Pain, we played like 3 shows. For Pleasure to Kill, we played maybe 10. And but we wanted to, you know, come up with something really, you know, there was no scene for clubs and festivals like it is nowadays in Germany at the time. You know, it was 85, 86, so there was nowhere to play. And all we were doing was like playing in our rehearsal room, and but we had a lot of time and many ideas, and especially for Pleasure to Kill, when that came out, we were big fans of, you know, like the early Bathory stuff, the Possessed, Seven Churches record. I think that was one of the biggest inspirations on the album. For Pleasure Kill was Seven Churches by Possessed, and of course the early Slayer stuff, the early Exodus stuff, you know, that stuff. And we wanted to be heavier, and we were kids, you know, we were really young, and the whole studio session was a huge party. You know, we had people over every day, and drinking, and it was like doing the recordings was actually like only a part of the whole thing. It was basically like, we're going to Berlin, we have this huge party, we have people coming from Berlin, we have people coming over from our hometown, and we will party there. And we really record the new album on the side, because we were, you know, still young, and we didn't know any better. And we had a great producer at the time, Harris Johns. He kept things together, and he captured the chaotic spark and the chaotic energy that only young bands that don't have their shit together can actually put on tape, you know.
Well, you mentioned Possessed there, Seven Churches. That album, Pleasure to Kill, Rain in Blood, these seem to be the thrash albums from the early thrash movement that took it to the most extreme. And a lot of people say that in taking thrash to the most extreme it could go, hence death metal came out. Do you agree with that? Do you think Pleasure to Kill was an inspiration for the death metal genre?
Yeah, some death metal bands told me so. I have many friends in death metal bands, and for many of them this was a huge inspiration. And same for us, you know, when we recorded that album, to us it was Possessed, and that was probably the first death metal album, right? They even had the song Death Metal on it.
Exactly.
And yeah, but like I said, this scene at the time, there was not so many bands, so all the heavy bands were inspired by each other, you know, I think. Before the first Exodus album came out, we had the demo tape. Before Death's first album came out, we had like rehearsal tapes, soundboard tapes, everything. So there was a constant. There's many sources of inspiration, you know, because of that. You know, we were like, okay, there's something happening, and we're part of it. It was good.
There was a lot of innovation, especially in Germany at that time. Sodom had Obsessed by Cruelty, which has been called a seminal black metal masterpiece. Destruction had Curse the Gods. Did you hear these albums at the time?
Yes. I was even involved in the songwriting sessions for Obsessed by Cruelty. I was there, you know, they were friends of ours, you know, and Destruction, to me, were the best band at the time from Germany, because their guitar player Mike was just a shredder, and in my world, you know, I thought he was the best thrash metal guitarist from Germany, and I always wanted to play as good as him. And so yeah, that was very inspiring and very exciting times, you know.
Looking back on it now, where do you think Pleasure to Kill stands in the whole spectrum of metal? What do you think its place is in the history of metal as a whole?
I think it's definitely an album that people talk about still for some reason, you know. And like I said, when we were recording it, I wasn't aware. I was not aware what we were doing. It's not like fishing for compliments or anything. It's just it's for real. I mean, we were just going in the studio and we're like, man, this sounds great. Let's do it. You know, as easy as that. And yeah, I think Pleasure to Kill is I think for a reason, because the moment in time when it came out had a huge influence on many other bands, and it made its mark in the history of metal.
Just out of curiosity, personally, may I ask you about your relationship with Voivod?
Oh yeah.
Because Snake was one of the first people I ever interviewed, and he's still one of the nicest guys I've ever met.
Yeah.
Not just in metal, but just in general.
Yeah. Snake is, to me, he's one of the best metal artists in the world. You know, he has great ideas, and the whole band Voivod, in my opinion, is one of the most exciting bands that ever came from anywhere. You know, very inspirational, very ahead of their time sometimes. You know, but great band. I love Voivod. Always have.
What do you think of the latest album, Target Earth?
Oh, that to me is a return to form. You know, I really enjoyed the one before, but the Target, you know, the new guitar player is really good. You know, I was good friends with Piggy, and I think that new guy is, to me, he's definitely like a good like replacement for Piggy. He would definitely would have enjoyed him playing the stuff that he does. He's good.
Well, very unfortunately, we're going to have to wrap this up. I could talk to you for days about all manner of things, Thrash and Kreator, but how, if at all possible, would you sum up 30 years of Kreator?
To me, it doesn't seem like 30 years. You know, the time passes and you live on, you know. It's like, time doesn't mean anything to me. And it doesn't seem like 30 years. You know, I still go, to me, I look ahead to the show. I'm really looking forward to tonight's show. I'm looking forward to the festivals run that we're going to do in the summer. I'm looking forward to the Australian tour. So there's always things in the future that I look forward to. So many things that I don't even have the time to reflect on what was happening in the past, because the past is the past, man. It's not existent. It is in the memory, but it's not real. It's not real, you know. And the future is also not. It's only the here and now to me. So I would say that, of course, 30 years of Kreator, blah. It's a big thing for many people, but to me, it's just like, yeah, 30 years. So what? Let's move on.
Do you have a message into the camera for all our readers at Get Your Rock Out?
Hey, get your rock out. This is Miller from Kreator. Thanks for supporting metal, and
I think that'll do it.
fresh till death.
Thank you very much for talking to us, man, and have a great show tonight.
Thank you.
Cheers.